Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying. But you know what? There's no time for that. The new Thor wave has been leaked. So let's talk about it. So spoiler warnings ahead. Do not proceed any further, okay? If you don't want to see what these characters and costumes look like. Alright, because quite frankly, I think a lot of other YouTubers, they're afraid to even cover this. But you know, me, I don't care about nothing, man. What are Hasbro gonna do? Come after me? They don't even know my real name. I'm the freaking Lizard King. So let's take a look at the new Thor wave. Boom! Here it is. We've got a pretty decent looking lineup, I reckon. I'm literally talking about these live as I look at them, okay? So this is a very different kind of video because I'm not doing it directly to the camera because I'm looking at the pictures. So we're exploring them in real time. First of all, we've got Jane Foster. So Mighty Thor is what they're calling her. Not Lady Thor or Jane of Asgard or anything like that. I guess it's just Mighty Thor, and that's fine. The costume, I think, looks fantastic. It's exactly what I would expect, pretty much straight out of the comics. Of course, there's a few tweaks here and there, but on the whole, I think she looks kind of lovely. Obviously, we can't see very closely with these, what the pins and joints and all that kind of situation is, but I'm guessing it's maybe going to be pinless, I would have thought. Probably double-jointed elbows, because, I mean, come on. You would have expected that with this brand new wave here. The fact that she's got two different heads, that's a really nice touch. Well done, Hasbro. Good stuff. There you go, showing McFarlane how it's done. So we've got the masked, helmeted head, and actually that's a surprisingly good thing because Thor never wore his helmet. He wore it for like 1 second in the first movie, and then we got sort of the quasi helmet in Ragnarok. So it's great to see her actually wearing the proper Thor helmet. That's awesome. I'm really happy about that. The Mjolnir looks massive next to her, which I think is kind of cute because it would be. So I think that's kind of awesome that she's got this gigantic hammer that she's going to be wielding. And of course, I didn't say that the Build-A-Figure, it looks like it's Korg. I'm going crazy. It is Korg, isn't it? The rock guy, it's Korg and Meek. You know, he wanted to have a revolution, but he didn't print enough flyers, so now he's here. I love Korg. He's a fantastic character, if that is his name. It is his name. I should stop doubting myself. So yeah, Mighty Thor, looking mighty fine. Then we go over to Groot, who I guess is adolescent Groot? I mean, he was adolescent Groot the last time we saw him, so maybe he's kind of in his later teens, essentially, and he looks like what you would expect. There's nothing to get too excited about here. It's Groot. We've seen this. This is the same Groot as we had in Endgame and what we've come to expect, so Groot is Groot. He looks fine. There's a gun there as well. I'm guessing that might be Korg's gun, but I'm not entirely sure. And there seems to be like a little thing by his head. I'm not sure what that is though, so maybe that's an accessory of his. It looks like there's a vine there as well, so there could be like a vine accessory to add onto his hand, so that's kind of cool. And then we see, okay, let's not dwell on that anymore. That's Groot. So then next to him, this is the interesting reveal. We have Gore, the God Butcher. Or just Gore to his friends and to the box art as well. He doesn't look madly exciting to my eye. But in fairness, there's not much that's madly exciting about the character design in the comics either. He is just like a bald, white, scary dude. And this looks like a bald, white, scary dude. He looks like one of the engineers from Alien Covenant or Resurrection or Disappointment or whatever those films are called. That's totally, actually, the more I look at it, the more I'm getting massive Alien Covenant vibes. That's not a good thing. But actually what is a good thing I just noticed here is the Necro Sword. I assume that's the Necro Sword, which anyone who wants to go super deep into the comic book lore, that's Null. That's Null, God of the Symbiote's weapon. That's kind of awesome. I mean, I know we're not going to be getting Null in the MCU anytime soon. I'm not saying that, but it's just kind of cool that for the hardcore fans, then that's a real deep cut, no pun intended. But the rest of him, he's kind of a boring figure, to be honest, just a big old white robe. I'm not sure how that's going to articulate, because I can see he's got like a sash around his midsection, so it's kind of hard to see how that would translate, but there we go. It is what it is, simple as that. Now, if we go down, we can take a look at King Valkyrie. This is kind of interesting. King Valkyrie? I mean, I don't give a monkeys about titles and what you call any person, but that's interesting. King Valkyrie, not Queen Valkyrie. I don't know sort of how that works or what the deal is, but if she's king, if that's the title that she takes, then more power to her. I mean, hey, look, I'm one of those folks. Live your best life. If she wants to be king, like, that's cool. Don't expect me to bow before her, but you know what? I'm not really sure if I'd bow before any king, quite frankly. No, just treat everyone the same. You know, if you're a good person, you're a good person. I don't care if you're a king or what, but enough about my political beliefs. Just be nice to people. That's all I'm saying. Just don't expect me to curtsy if you come up and say you're king. I'm like, okay, well, do you have a flag? Anyway, I digress. She looks cool, I guess. I mean, it's really hard to say because the image is not that clear. She comes with Korg's head and Korg's mallet as well, which is kind of fun, but that's all that we can really go on. So I think that with her, it's going to be a case of getting her in hand. I like the look of the costume. I think that the wings, I'm guessing that's her horse, her Pegasus kind of thing on her chest, that sort of emblem, that looks kind of cool. It looks like she's got a little cape behind her as well, unless that's just the box art. And I think it is probably a blue cape, so there's a lot to like there, actually. She could be quite a cool figure, but you know, we're gonna see in a few months when we finally get her in hand. But I'm not going to wax lyrical too much because that's about it. Now we've got everyone's favorite character, Star-Lord. I still like Star-Lord. I don't blame him for what happened in Infinity War, and besides, it all worked out fine except for that little 5-year gap. So Star-Lord, actually, there's not too much to report. He looks like Star-Lord. He's got the big Star-Lord trench coat. He's got his regular blasters. What he doesn't have is his Star-Lord helmet. So, okay. I guess they are not adding that because there's no other different head or anything like that. So there's kind of a basic Chris Pratt. He looks pretty much like you would have expected from the Guardians of the Galaxy episode 2. What am I saying? This isn't Star Wars. It's much better than that. From Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with the long trench coat. So that's kind of more of the same, really. So he looks fine, but nothing too exciting. Then, what I think does look cool is Ravager Thor. I was wondering why he was wearing the waistcoat in the behind-the-scenes pictures that we saw. You remember those came out like about a year ago, and he looked like he was bursting out of his skin, basically. He was so swole and jacked, and quite beautiful, honestly. But this is the action figure for it, and he actually looks pretty cool. I kind of dig this. I love this design with, you know what, Jack Burton. He totally looks like Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. That's wicked. I wonder if that was any kind of motivation there. I'm just getting that from the jeans and the shirt, to be honest. I mean, the waistcoat doesn't do anything like that, but I think this is a really cool, fun-looking figure. And of course, he has Stormbreaker as well. So I guess he's sticking with Stormbreaker, and then we have Mighty Thor with Mjolnir, which makes perfect sense. That's how she gets the powers, I suppose. I haven't actually read the Jane Foster Thor comics, so I don't really know that too well. But regardless, I think this is actually a bit of a highlight of the wave. I think he looks really cool. Doesn't look like any other extras though, no other hands or anything. But still, he needs both hands to grip Stormbreaker. There you go. I was going to say Stormhammer. That's not a thing. So yeah, I kind of dig him. And then finally, quite a surprising looking one, we have Thor in full-on badass, regal, God of Thunder Thor gear. And honestly, I think this looks cool. I dig this. First of all, he's wearing the helmet. And actually, I'm not big on my Thor history, but this looks a lot like Thor from, like, is it the late 80s? Maybe when he has this really ornate helmet and he's got the beard. That really looks like that Thor from the comics. So I think that's really cool. I love the additions of the gold in there as well. I've already heard a couple of people say that they're not too keen on this looking design. I dig it. And I like that this is going... I assume that this is going to be his look at the end of the film, but I don't know. But I'm hoping he ends up like this, because I like the laid-back, chilled-out, surfer dude kind of Thor, but I would like him to have that personality, but still with the more regal Norse mythology look. And it looks like that might be the case. So that all in, I think that's a really handsome looking Thor. I totally dig that. And then finally, we've got the Korg Build-A-Figure itself, which since he's in a whole bunch of pieces, it's very difficult to comment on, but it looks, just to my eye, very similar to the Korg from the 2-pack, although it looks like he's wearing jeans or blue trousers of some sort, but it's very hard to say with him in pieces, but that doesn't really matter. I'm sure we'll get him in hand eventually and then we can make our judges. Right, enough rambling. Folks, that was it. That was my quick, sneaky peek of the Thor wave. If this is legit, it looks really legit, so we're going to go with that. So what do you think about it? If you watched this far, if you were brave enough, I mean, come on, look, you're going to see what these look like long before the film comes out anyway. At least this way, you get to see it with your old pal Dave. So guys, thanks very much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.